The First Shots class, being an introduction to firearms, starts with the very basics of handling a handgun. Obviously, the stress is on safety at all times, and that's where the class begins. Hello everyone, and welcome back to AmmoMart.com. Today we're going to start a three-part video series that's based on the National Shooting Sports Foundation's program called First Shots. But first, a little bit about the National Shooting Sports Foundation. They were founded in 1961 in Connecticut, and they currently have more than 8,000 members. Their purpose is to preserve, protect, and grow all things related to the shooting sports industry. They also serve as a Second Amendment sort of watchdog and promote Second Amendment rights throughout the country and the world. The National Shooting Sports Foundation is the sponsor for the annual SHOT Show that's actually going on this month. SHOT Show stands for Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show, and it's a massive convention around the firearms industry and all things shooting. If you have the chance, I highly recommend you go out and check it out. It is awesome. You won't be disappointed. What they have done is compile a class covering how it is you introduce new shooters to handguns. I teach the class here locally, and I'm very excited to do that because the whole class is designed around taking people that have never fired a handgun before, and by the time the session is over with, they come out the door with some confidence and competence related to handguns. I've always enjoyed working with the newbies in our industry because they are actually our future. Any chance that you can get to educate and grow the shooting sports, I love doing that, and I found that it really does create quite a lot of excitement basically for the rest of their lives around the firearms industry. The First Shots class, being an introduction to firearms, starts with the very basics of handling a handgun. First Shots stresses safety as a paramount. Obviously, the stress is on safety at all times, and that's where the class begins. Muzzle discipline, trigger discipline, everything that goes into that. As we move on, we sort of cover a history of firearms when we talk about single and double action revolvers, moving on to single and double action semi-automatic pistols, and then polymer fired striker guns. Once the students have demonstrated competency in the classroom handling the dry guns, we move on to the firing line. The shooting part of the class is what the students obviously find the most enjoyable, and the way I like to do it is to start with the 22. A reliable semi-automatic 22 solves a lot of problems for people that might be recoil sensitive when they come in the door and they don't even know it. It also allows you to not lose your student. Oftentimes when you start with a caliber that's too big for the student that you may happen to be instructing, once the gun goes off and it's not really their bag, you've lost them. Hopefully not forever, but sometimes I've seen that happen. If things go well and they're receptive, we oftentimes graduate to 9mm handguns at the end of the class, which the students really seem to enjoy. First Shots has become one of my favorite parts of my job because it's really fun to see how infectious shooting can be to a receptive audience. It's always fun to watch the students take great pride in comparing their targets with the stranger next to them. It's really almost becomes more of a competitive thing than I anticipated that it would be, and I'm glad of that because I think ultimately that's what will keep bringing them back to the shooting sports. One point of personal satisfaction I get from the class is knowing that I send the students out into the world with the basic, safe understanding of how handguns work and the proper way to handle them. I have no doubt at some point it may save a life. Next week, we're going to be filming the First Shots class with Lexi Schwab from TikTok.
Hi. And I'm so excited to learn about all this gun stuff because I've never done it before. So, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.